So black men have to design and plan for the family they want. Now, you're a black man, you're trying to self improve and gain a grounded identity in being a black man. I have a deep dive guide on all the things of learning who to look up to in black history, eating healthier, becoming more financially literate, and also coming together with other black men on a weekly basis to self-improve and to gain a grounded identity in being a black man, and also having a more calisthenics-based workout. If you're interested in that and you need to be the strongest version of yourself as a black man, the link for that will be in the bio section of my YouTube channel. So just click on my YouTube channel and you see the link. Click on that, internalize that, and be the strongest version of yourself as a black man. Now, when we dive into having the family that we want, and I think every black man should want to have kids and should want to have a family, because that's how we reproduce, that's how we grow, that's how black people prosper, or that's one of the most critical ways that we prosper and that we grow is in our population, right? But but to be more specific and in more detail, I think having a good family setup is so important for black men to have that and to create that within the community, because oftentimes we see so many of our problems come from a broken family, a family where the woman is dysfunctional, the man isn't there, or the man is dysfunctional, right? And I think that me looking at my life, I understand that I do hold myself up to a standard when it comes to the type of family I want, which means that I don't want to be broke when I have kids. I don't want to have my wife take care of me, right? I don't want to have any of those type of things that could alter me being in a strong position, me being in a powerful position, and me being in a position where I'm not designing or creating the life that I want for my kids and the life that I want for my family overall, right? And I think that for every black man, we have to become more intentional about who we're going to be with and when we're going to have kids. I think that so many times we see the people who are reckless and degenerate and don't care about anything. Those are oftentimes the people who have the most kids. Those really are the people who have the most kids. And the people who are super smart, maybe super educated, and they really want to raise their kids in a proper environment for them to win in life, those are the people you see having the least amount of kids, right? And you can really, I think this could be fixed in society, especially in the black community, if we start to prioritize a man being a man and a woman being a woman. But inside of that, there's community for improvement, for personal development, and developing a culture that celebrates the black man and the black woman being together, not us arguing and not us, destroying each other, right? And I think that one of the ways that can be, we can have more productive families and functional families is prioritizing community and prioritizing like-minded individuals who are already looking for that and want that in their future, right? But let's look at what really needs to happen. I truly believe the the foundation of the family is the mentality of the man, right? There's too many times I've seen a guy who he was dysfunctional as a man, and then so his family was dysfunctional overall. There's men I've seen who were super disciplined and super structured, and their family was super disciplined and super structured, right? It all comes back at the end of the day to how the man was able to control his the way he wanted his family to be, right? And I think that that's something that's very important when it comes to what we want to see, right, and what we want to happen. I'm a person that wants stuff to happen a certain way in my life, and I understand that's not gonna come through that's not going to come through me just wanting it. That's gonna come through me planning for it, uh, designing it, putting myself in the right position, right? Because I could sit here and say I could really sit here and say, okay, I want a wife this way, I want a family, I want all this stuff to happen. Really, it's not up to my wife to create that. It's not up to my kids to create that. It's really up to the man to create that environment and the way he wants his life to be, right? And the way he wants his family to be. So the older I get, that's one thing I understand, that that's up to me to have the family that I want, right? And I'm constantly understanding that that's going to take time. That's not going to be something that's going to be quick, right? And this is why I feel as though you might catch a lot of girls or a lot of women who may get with a dude that's older because he's already established in his career, maybe has more confidence, maybe has more life experience. And I think as I'm getting older, I understand that the valuable things in life, the things that mean a lot, the things that are worthwhile, they take effort, they take planning, they take intention. And I think one thing that's normalized that we see all the time is super normalized to have kids out of nowhere. Like, it's super normal. It's countless. It's a countless amount of people that I've seen who were teenagers or young, and they randomly just had kids, and their life was not set up. Their life was not set up for that child to thrive. Now, obviously, we know a person can thrive coming from a bad environment, right? But that's not ideal, and that's not. And usually, when you have a child growing up in a bad environment, they reflect that environment, which means very few people come from a bad environment and become successful, right? That's a small minority, and that shouldn't be a thing where it's like, oh, well, you shouldn't care about how you were raised. No, how you were raised is everything. It's literally everything. To me, people like to blame stuff on genetics and all this type of stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to ignore that. That's not entirely just false, but people like to blame stuff on things they can't control, right? How you were raised has a lot to do with your trajectory in life, regardless of genetics most of the time, because most of us are average regular people, right? And the reason I brought in genetics is people like to play the victim game, or it's not my fault and all this type of stuff, right? um Obviously, we can look at a lot of different things that's not in our control, but how we were raised, that was in our parents' control, right? And then when we have kids, when we have a family, or we create a family, that's up to us, right? That's really up to us. And I think that as I've started to observe more people with families, I've understood that as time goes on, you really start to see what type of family you came from whenever that person becomes an adult. Me, I think I had, okay parents, not perfect parents, but I can definitely say that there is a point in my life where I have to recreate myself from my environment, from how I was raised, to be a better person. The ideal scenario is where your parents can kind of go ahead and set you up for life when it comes to discipline, when it comes to career, when it comes to even sometimes your partner, not partner, but if you have a wife or if you are having a husband. I really believe in uh, things can be set up for you to win through your parents, and how they choose to raise you. But it really comes back to the character of the man. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. Peace out.